Summer turbulence with Luna, with my plan to move back home with my parents in the fall set in place, it became harder to work on me and Luna's many arguments and issues that arose. For all I knew, we were going to break up shortly after I moved home, simply because I didn't know how moving home was going to make me feel. I relayed this sentiment in our various arguments with lines such as, "Well, good thing in a few weeks you won't have to deal with me anymore, and I can't wait until it doesn't matter what you think." That being said, we had plenty of fun that summer, between watching the World Cup and going camping on an island in the northern reaches of Hip Forest Lake. It was bittersweet in most respects, with loving intentions one minute and complete resentment towards one another the next. The things we loved about each other weren't enough to outweigh our deep dissatisfaction with each other. But in all those moments where we did feel satisfied with each other, I felt true love and unity with Luna. Only the gods of the great unknown know what exactly brought us together energetically, or what we learned from each other, but it seemed that aspects of each of our minds, however vague, found something lovable in one another. On our camping trip, we skinny dipped in the sunset and watched heavy thunderstorms roll over us, only to get caught in the downpour as we laughed in the beauty of it all. Then there are the many delicious meals we made and purchased together, the television shows we agreed on watching and chatting about, and the times we were turned on enough to make love. So why did I not find it worth continuing my life with her in Hip Forest if we enjoyed each other so very much? For one thing, I was done with my job because it afforded me no time to work on creative projects, nor did it afford me any real savings. Secondly, I was tired of being around Luna while she continued her preschool teaching job. Out of general politeness, I will not elaborate much on that, but let's just say I never wanted to know the names of a whole class of preschoolers and their complicated family dynamics. I would have an amazing day, and Luna's arrival home from work would often crumble every bit of enthusiasm and joy I had, as she would relay the many dysfunctional details of her day. Moreover, did I feel like Luna and I were on the same page, like we appreciated the same art and shared the same political views? Not exactly, though sometimes we got lucky. Lastly, I had made an error and spent a night out with another woman again. With that move, I certainly brought our relationship to failure land, in a way I never really returned from. With all of that going on, I also managed to have a very modest yield of mycospawn. Back in the spring, I decided to give growing the fellas a go, and did okay for a rudimentary setup. Turns out, the financial corners I cut were costly, and I had at most a yield of 3 solid experiences, whereas one can usually get 20 times that amount. It was a fun project to have that summer, along with selling green power to a tightly knit community. I would have been surprised that the police never took interest in me had it not been for our neighbours almost certainly being needle sex addicts, what with the verbal abuse and unkempt exterior of their home. In comparison, I had the appearance of a clean, well-dressed intellectual, however bohemian I appeared. Turns out looking like someone who might enjoy green power isn't enough to cause any problems, especially in Hip Forest. Anyway, my plan was to take the mycospawn fruits back to my hometown and to have myself a session or two in order to reach some clarity about my relationship with Luna. I knew it was time to bring psilocytes back into my life, and all I had to do was put the fear from my past 2 experiences behind. Instead of a week-long camping trip that August, we stayed at an Airbnb near Rashid and his then-girlfriend Eva. Luna was fascinated with the 2 of them and wanted to stay near them for the vacation. That was mostly a swell time, like when Luna and I found a spot on the beach far away from everyone else to have sex on. There was something about partially public sex that made it more fun. Call me an exhibitionist. Along with the food and the views, the time was enchanting. But then there was the night where I told her that I simply didn't feel connected and wasn't sure what it was. Luna's response seemed more inconvenienced than concerned, and that strengthened my hurt all the same. We tidied all our complicated feelings up, though, as we always did, and made it back to Hip Forest for our last couple of weeks together before I moved out.